They called it an eyesore, mocked me in meetings, said I was paranoid. But when the sky cracked open and floodwaters roared through our neighborhood, that ugly wall I built became the only thing standing between safety and total ruin. And suddenly, the same people laughing were on their knees, begging. Our neighborhood was the kind you see in home insurance commercials. Manicured lawns, white picket fences, and an HOA that fined you for leaving a trash can out 5 minutes too long. I loved it until the storms got worse. After 2 near floods in 3 years, I started researching. Experts warned our street sat in a natural runoff path. So, quietly, I built a low, reinforced flood wall along my property line. Nothing flashy, just functional. The HOA didn't care about data. They cared about curb appeal. Within 48 hours, I got a violation notice. Unauthorized structure detracts from community aesthetics. At the next meeting, the president smirked. "Are we building a castle now?" Laughter followed. No one asked if it might save us. The jokes didn't stop at the meeting. Someone photoshopped my wall into a medieval fortress and pinned it to the community board. Kids on bikes would yell, "Hey, King of Fort Doom," as they rode past. My neighbor, Linda, who chaired the garden committee, told me outright, "You're bringing down property values with that eyesore." I almost tore it down, not because I doubted the risk, but because the loneliness stung. Every HOA newsletter mentioned harmony and uniform beauty, yet no one wanted to talk about the rising creek behind the cul-de-sac. Still, I reinforced the wall in secret, added drainage channels, layered sandbags behind the concrete base. I'd stay up nights watching radar maps, heart pounding at every thunderclap. They thought I was paranoid, but I knew nature doesn't care how pretty your lawn is. And when the real storm came, it would knock politely. It started just after midnight, not with rain, but with silence, the kind that makes your skin prickle. Then the sky split open. Rain didn't fall, it attacked. Within an hour, streets became rivers. Emergency alerts blared. "Flash flood warning, seek higher ground." I watched from my window as water surged down the hill like a living thing. Hungry, fast, furious. Mrs. Callahan's Tesla floated past her mailbox. The Garcia's patio collapsed into the churning brown wave. Screams mixed with the roar of collapsing fences. Then it hit my property line. The wall held. Not a drop crossed. My yard, dry. My garage, safe. Just 10 feet away, chaos swallowed everything. That's when I saw him, Greg, the HOA president, waist deep in floodwater, clinging to a stop sign. His house was already half submerged. He locked eyes with me, panic raw in his face. He waded through the current, pounding on my gate, voice breaking. "Please, my kids are trapped in the basement. Your wall, can we get behind it?" I opened the gate, not out of spite, but because no one should drown while being right. The storm didn't warn us. It ambushed us. One minute, the streets were wet. The next, they vanished under a churning brown tide. Rain hammered rooftops like gunfire. Power died. Sirens wailed, then cut off mid-cry. I stood at my window, flashlight in hand, watching water swallow hedges, mailboxes, then porches. Then came the screams. Linda's SUV flipped sideways in her driveway. The Garcia's back deck ripped away like cardboard. And through it all, my flood wall, just 3 feet high, rough concrete, mocked for weeks, stood like a silent sentinel. Water slammed into it and stopped. My yard, bone dry. 10 feet away, Greg, the HOA president, who'd called my wall a civic embarrassment, was knee-deep in sewage and mud, dragging his soaked wife toward my property line. His voice cracked. "Please, the water's rising faster than we can evacuate." I threw open the gate. Behind me, safety. In front of me, neighbors who'd laughed, now trembling, clutching children, pets, photo albums, all they had left. No gloating, no "I told you so," just rain, ruin, and the ugly wall that saved them all. Because when disaster hits, it doesn't care about aesthetics, it only cares if you're ready. By sunrise, the water receded, but the damage was done. 7 homes had flooded basements. 2 were condemned. My house, not a drop inside. Local news vans rolled in by noon. A reporter called my wall a miracle of foresight. Suddenly, the same HOA that fined me wanted blueprints. At the emergency meeting, Greg stood up, voice shaky, and proposed making flood barriers mandatory for every home. Linda even apologized, eyes red. "We should have listened." I didn't say much, just handed them the engineering specs I'd saved. The irony? They now want to paint the new community wall my color to maintain visual harmony. Funny how disaster rewires priorities. One week, you're the neighborhood weirdo. The next, you're the only reason they still have a neighborhood. In the end, it wasn't about being right. It was about being ready. Too often, we're shamed for preparing, called paranoid, dramatic, or too much. But real courage isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. It's building a wall no one understands until they need it. So I'll ask you, have you ever been laughed at for preparing too soon? Drop your story in the comments. I read everyone. If this hit home, tap like. It helps others find this message before their storm hits. And don't forget, the smartest choice isn't always the prettiest, but it might just be the one that saves everything. Stay ready, stay safe.